Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Pop Aficionados, our second show here on the Thursday block. I am your host, your boy Jelani Kuhn, along with Will Milwaukee Wash Kuhn was with us. Joel, Critical Joel Paprocki is
That's
with us.
spooky.
And Killer Claw Kling is here. Thank you so much for being here. If this is your first time joining us for a Pop Summary product, thank you so much. If you can give us a follow or even a subscribe, that'd be great. But thank you so much for joining us. If you're here live with us, watching with us, hit up the chat. Let us know we're here. We'll try to interact back with you during our second show here and talk to you guys more about things. So thank you so much for that. And
Speaking of
let's get into.
follows and subscribes and stuff, I wanted to talk to you about this really quick. Sorry, I'm going to cut you off.
Sure. Okay. Go ahead.
So you know how when we're prepping the show, I've got like the Streamlabs OBS and everything up, and we're setting up and doing sound checks and stuff. I'm sitting here and I've got it up, and I hear a sound go, and I flip over, and we actually got a follower right before the show, and it freaked me out. Because I thought that I had like accidentally hit the live button, and we're talking a bunch of smack before the show and everything, and it was live, and instead no, it actually showed a follower with the sound effect and everything before we even went live, and I thought that was funny, so I thought I'd share that with you.
It's funny.
I don't know who it was because I barely got to see their name, but thank you, whoever you are. You're the real hero.
Yes. We appreciate everyone who's here with us, and we appreciate the follows and likes, and just let people know that we're doing cool things here at twitch.tv/PopSamurai Network. So, all right. How's everybody feeling? Everybody feeling good? It's the Thursday night. Let's get into talking about cool movies, games, or whatever we're doing out there. And here we always try and talk about first what we're doing, what we're watching, what we're playing, anything like that. It's open floor. Let's talk about that. I want to talk about. Let's go to Claude. Claude, start with you. Like, what are the big things you've been watching or staying up with or doing?
Okay, so Amazon Prime has Welcome to the Bloom House.
Mm-hmm.
And it is... I've only watched one movie so far. It's called The Lie.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie, the entire time, like, you're, like, getting your fingers into it. You're, like, going into the family. You're making relationships with the family. And then... I don't even know how to explain it. The entire end of The Lie is a lie, obviously, but it, like, the shudder from it is so terrible.
Oh, so it's like a twist? Like, not to try and
There
spoil
is
it or anything like that, but
definitely a
there's like a
twist.
big twist that left you like speechless, is what you're trying to say?
I want to say it's even, like, more than, like, M. Night Shyamalan twist.
Oh, that's really cool.
It literally... I watched it today.
Mm-hmm.
Eh?
And were you disturbed?
And
I mean,
I'm
she's
still
speechless.
taking my jaw off
Yeah.
the floor.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a
anything
recommendation then.
Still picking my jaw off the floor.
Yes. Did you give it high marks? Good recommendation or anything like that, or what do you think?
Oh my god, the entire movie is such a snooze the entire time. And then the ending is like... I don't understand anything that I have been doing in my life. I don't
Really,
understand.
it raises that type of questions?
Oh my god, it's... Mm. Mm.
I mean, it sounds
Okay.
intense. Yeah.
Watch
Okay.
The Lie.
Okay. All right, there you go. Recommendation by Claude.
I tried
Anything
to
else?
like tag it with my roommate that I watched it with, which was Taylor,
Mm-hmm.
and they did not even have a tag tap. And I would like to believe that it's because that movie is so egregiously shuddering.
Okay. All right.
It was absolutely the entire movie. I watched it, and then when the ending came and the ending like did the full circle thing, I was like, this is not how people work. They don't work this way.
Okay. So it just made you question things about the movie or just life or what?
Probably life, honestly,
Oh, is that
because it
deep?
was parental.
Oh, for The Lie on for the Bloomhouse films on Amazon is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's called The Lie.
Okay. All right.
And it's
Um
fucking, I think that might be my 5 of the F word at this point. But it is literally, it's so harrowing. It's awful.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Did you watch anything else or was that the big thing?
No, I think that is because that movie was so poignant. I have nothing else.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, let's move on to Joel. Joel, what you got?
So I did jump back into Mario 64 and just started playing a little bit of that again, but not much, honestly. And the few movies that we did get to watch over the past few days, one of them I mentioned previously because I had watched it, and then I was like, Amy has to see this. That was called The Possession from 1981. But I loved her reaction to it, which was just of like awe, because by the end of it, she was just like, "What the hell did I just see?" And
Mm-hmm.
I promise that if you guys can find a copy of this somewhere, it is worth watching. And I forgot that it was a banned movie for a little while, I think in the UK and things like that. But it's not because it's absolutely like grotesque or anything like. I mean, it's pretty gross at certain points, but it's so uncomfortable and it's just really well done and it's very atmospheric. And I just think that if you guys are looking for something that's a little bit more of one of those thinkers where you're like, wait a minute, what the hell did I just see? How did everything that happened earlier relate to the end where you get a big plot change type of thing? So if you want to see something that's very spooky and takes on multiple meanings of the word possession, not your typical form, that is a good one. The second one that we watched was Videodrome, which I'm pretty sure that most people have probably heard of because it's a Criterion Collection movie at this point. But this was a movie that came out in, what year was this one? 1983. But this stars, well, it was made by David Cronenberg, who is famous for making like The Fly and things like that.
Yeah.
And it stars James Wood and then has Debbie Harry, which you guys may know as the singer of Blondie.
No
but
way.
yeah, and it's a fantastic movie though. This one is all about how eventually, like their envision back then of how society would be when it's so overstimulated by watching TV, and what would happen if somebody wanted to use that for a bad purpose, which is get to the most grotesque thing that you can get people watching and get them hooked to that, but then somehow mix in a signal that messes with them and makes them maybe messed up in different ways. So this is a very trippy film at times, but it also is pretty prophetic in a different way. And while the technology is like totally irrelevant at this point because they're talking about like VHSs and shit like that, they definitely hit the mark on being like, you're looking at this, your phone, but how does it truly influence your day-to-day life without you knowing, kind of thing? And it makes a bigger statement about those types of things. So that's probably why this was a criterion, because it has a bigger statement to be made than its aged technology, but also just how it was shot, which is very weird and trippy, like I said. So that one's definitely worth checking out. And then I'll just make a more lighthearted mention of an anime that I watched because I was looking for some like Sakuga style, like, ships flying around and like a lot of action happening and stuff. And I stumbled across an old anime that I found on YouTube, which is called Gal Force. And literally it refers to a force of women in space that like get stranded on their ship. And it's only 7 ladies that are stuck on this ship. And they're trying to survive against this like opposing force of like aliens that are trying to take out humans, essentially. And they're like struggling to get away. Their ship, like, they go at light speed for a bit and then it dies out and they gotta like correct it. And all the like crazy crap that happens with trying to survive with only 7 people on a giant spaceship, and trying to go outside of the ship and fix things and all this stuff. But then eventually it like leads into like, well, they come to Earth, and so it's not humans as we know it. They're from somewhere else, and they find that Earth is like a better place to exist. And I don't know why there were no women or no men. They never explained that. But then they run into a man, and it's just like, this is really weird. And it was a very odd little anime, but it's actually quite famous for back in the day. This was from 1986, really hitting the 80s hard here lately. I'll say that it definitely hit the mark on quality animation. Maybe the idea is a bit peculiar, but certainly it was a fun watch. So that's what I've been up to. What about you guys? What have you been doing?
Cool. We'll move it over to Will. Will, what you got for me?
Yeah, so this week I picked back up the game Dragon Age Origins. I sort of fell off the bus with that one. I picked it back up. I'm still having a lot of fun with it. It's one of those things where I have to be in a specific mood to play. But every time I get a little bit further in the story, I'm reminded that it's a pretty sweet like recreation of like D&D combat. So I recommend it. I think it's a lot of fun. As far as watching things, I'm still working my way through Shameless. I'm about halfway through that. I also watched this week Batman The Killing Joke on Netflix. It just came out on Netflix. I am not as big of a Batman fanboy as Jelani is. I will say this. But I loved The Killing Joke in the comics. I really wanted to like this movie. It did not quite hit home for me. And I think, they're trying to do a lot with, the Red Hood, and it's always really hit or miss when you're trying to do an origin story for the Joker. And I feel like they got some really, really big punctuation moments with some of the heavier moments from the comic. Obviously, the crippling of Barbara Gordon is huge, and the implied events that follow that is possibly one of the heaviest moments in all of Batman. And that had a really strong emotional response from me, but the rest of the movie was almost muted. It was kind of paling in comparison. I thought the art was awesome. I thought the voice acting was awesome. But yeah, I think something was kind of lost in just pacing and plot points and hitting the right tone. And so I guess just kind of a direction. It was a little bit without direction, and that's unfortunate. It was also too short. I feel like they could have easily made it a 4-hour movie and still had more to tell. And instead it was just under 2 hours. So
I don't have my copy nearby, but it's a very thin comic. So I'm actually interested to hear how they ended up spanning this out a bit more.
Yeah,
so
well,
maybe you have more to say about that.
The tough thing is you don't want to, spoil it.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
But it is a pretty thin comic, but canonically there's plenty of stuff to go on.
Yeah.
Both directions, from that moment. So It's
All right, cool.
it's interesting. I'd still recommend it, especially if you're a big Batman fan. But yeah, it's not gonna be one of my favorite Batman things. But that's basically everything I did. Sorry.
Yeah. The jumping on. I mean, yeah. If I'll go next, talking about that. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. The the Killing Joke animated feature did not hit the marks. It when it came out, it was reviewed pretty poorly against
Mhm.
everything. So I would say right now that yeah, it completely missed the mark for me.
Mhm.
I'm a big fan of the Killing Joke. Killing Joke is one of the seminal Joker stories out there, but yeah, it's just completely misses the mark. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah. So the thing is, like, for sure, I agree with you. I think it tried to shove some things in there that it makes sense, and also at the same time, it completely missed the mark on the tone.
Mhm.
So, um, that's the thing. Like, it's super crazy how like you have like this well celebrated book, comic book, that stands the test of time as one of the greatest ones out there, and then for them to completely miss the mark on this animated feature. I mean, again, I love Hamill, I love Conroy as like Batman and Joker voice actors, but like they missed the mark on the ending. It didn't feel right. The pacing was off, but like they did hit some of the big like moments, but they also shoved in a couple things that didn't make sense as well.
Mhm.
So I don't recommend seeing that. I recommend just reading the comic book, but that's just me.
Or go, I mean,
Um,
go play the Rocksteady game too, because Arkham Knight did a great job recreating Killing Joke.
exactly. Yeah.
So,
Um, Claude, you said that you need to get going. Is that do you want to get going?
Um, I mean, I want to
It's up
talk
to you.
about a horror movie.
Could she maybe do
If
her
you
part first and then?
yeah, if you want to talk about it real quick, we can talk about it real quick. And I know like if you're running out of time for sure, like it's not a problem at all. But yeah, let's hop right into it real quick, and I'll come back to me in a little bit.
it's
What's the horror
Claude's
movie you want?
horror segment. Sorry,
Yes,
we try
Claude.
to do theme songs, so
We try to. Yes, we do.
I mean,
We
that's
nail them every
fine.
time. All
yeah.
right, Claude, what you got? What's the horror movie you want to talk about?
Okay, so not even a horror movie, but something that's going on Amazon Prime right now is the Bloomhouse stories, and Bloomhouse is like a very like horror-oriented production film situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I just watched with Taylor. It's called The Lie.
Yes.
So The Lie is entirely like this, like, you've got like it's such a stereotype. It's high school girls that fight with each other and they don't like each other, but they're friends.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep going through like the over and over and over again that's what they're doing. But in The Lie, it brings the parents into it.
Okay. So it talks about like
So,
the infighting between the teenagers and the parents getting involved with it.
sort of.
Okay.
So, in the beginning of The Lie, there's a girl that's fighting with another girl about, this, that, or the other thing. And she concedes to the fight. And then when they're driving, they find the other girl who is part of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire point of the movie is the dad picks the other girl up and he's supposed to drive her home, but the girl says she has to use the restroom. She has to pee.
Okay.
And he lets her and his daughter go to the woods to, you know, like do whatever anybody does all the time.
Okay.
And when he goes out there, his daughter says that she pushed the other girl into the waterfall.
Oh. Okay.
And he's looking for the girl, he's searching for her, but there's absolutely nothing he can do because she literally, for her own benefit, for her own like weird like girl fight thing, pushed her over the railing of the bridge.
Okay. And so this is just about like what the parents trying to help the daughter cover it
It's
up
the
or something, or
parents trying to cover it up.
If you like that, that's pretty
Interesting. That's an
interesting.
interesting
Yeah,
concept.
terrifying.
It's absolutely terrible. I watched the whole movie with Taylor, and by the end of the movie, I was just like floored. It was the worst thing that could come of that situation.
That's interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting. And this is on Amazon right now. It's one of the 4 Blumhouse films, right? That's what you said.
It's called The Lie.
And it's the only one you've watched out of the Blumhouse 4,
Yes.
right? The 4 movies so far. Okay. But the movie wasn't so great. But like by the end of it, there was like just the way the story progressed, it still was flooring. But
I think the movie itself was still very well done, honestly.
okay.
But yeah,
Interesting.
the end of the movie was absolutely hurt.
Interesting. Okay.
And I can't even
Well,
say anything about it because
otherwise it gives it all away, right?
you have to watch it. It's so terrible.
Interesting. I've heard things about this one. I know that like I've heard about the Blumhouse movies coming out on Amazon, but I've also heard some rumblings about that one specifically. So it's interesting.
You need to
Interesting.
watch it, Jelani. It's rough.
Okay. Yeah, I might jump into it. We'll see what happens. But yeah, thank you for bringing it up here. And well, hopefully folks out there will go out there and check out what's going on with that on Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, check it out. The Lie. And so it's interesting. Interesting. Well, thanks, Claude. Appreciate it. But yeah, are you gonna stick around with us, or do you need to get going, or do you
No,
feel
I
like you
can
can?
stick around for a bit.
Okay. All right. Okay. Uh, yeah. There we go. All right, rounding off my what I watched earlier segment because it was just talking about that because I did peek into the Killing Joke thing and then jumping back into what I played. I played actually we tested it out. Me and Joel tested it out a little bit because I messaged him right away to force him to play it with me. But it was Ghost of Tsushima Legends released, um,
I forgot to
and
mention that. Yeah, good point.
we played like a couple missions just to test it out to see how it is, and actually it's really good. And then after that, I jumped into just regular multiplayer, but they added a multiplayer aspect to this epic samurai game where you get to choose these different classes. You can choose an archer, the brute force samurai, like a healer like samurai class, and like a assassin sneak stealth character. And so we tried it out a little bit. It was great. And then I jumped into some of the quick matches, and it was more of like a survive the waves coming at
Oh,
you
that's cool.
of enemies. And that's how you keep leveling up. And it's actually really cool. So I really enjoy it. Hopefully, I can actually get like a cool long playthrough with some people online with it. Maybe even do some, because there's like story missions you can do with a group of 2 or a group of 4, and then there's just like the regular like battle matches where you get matched up with either friends or just random people to like survive waves of people and things like that. So on different maps. So it's actually really cool.
I don't know how my mind blanked on the fact that we spent a good couple hours playing that. That was a lot of fun. So I shouldn't.
Well, yeah, couple missions on it. Yeah, which basically, but yeah, it was actually really good. It was fun. It adds like a supernatural twist to it because you're playing like these samurai warriors that come back and try to do things, and so like it's protect the land from like demons and oni and things like that. So really cool. Recommend it if you haven't jumped into it yet. Ghost of Tsushima Legends, really fun stuff. All right. With that, with everybody's what's everybody been playing, let's jump over to segments. Will, you got a little board game review for us? You said you got a quick one. Okay, let's go into that.
How about now? Can you hear me now? I'm gonna say yes because I can see my levels all of a sudden. So what I was saying is, you're familiar with in the last couple of years there have been an emergence of
turtle.
What? Of board game and a not board game and a
box. Nose piercing. So yeah, he spelled it.
Oh,
and when I was
Claude.
What's happening?
Claude, was that is that on your phone?
Or your phone, yeah.
It might have been.
Oh yeah. So we heard like a loud like girl talking.
Oh, loud girl talking. That's Katie.
Oops.
Sorry, she FaceTimed me.
Oh, okay. Anyway, Escape Room in a Box. They've been coming out for years now. Friends gave me this game. Friends who actually happen to be in the chat right now. What up, Stage Cats and Brynamite? This is a game by a company called Happily. It is called The Cruise Ship Escape. Now, the idea of this is it's one of those sort of date night puzzle games. It's more of like a normie puzzle game than something that I would say is for hardcore gamers. And we kind of went into it knowing that. But it was still interesting. You know, I've never tried one of these before. They're marketed to very casual gamers. So we hopped in and we gave it a shot. The people who gave it to us said it took them about 15 minutes to get through. That's also what we kind of got in around. So it wasn't difficult. They have an app that goes along with it that gives you about an hour to get through it. And slowly funnels clues your way and hints if you're not doing so well. We never really needed any of the hints. We were pretty ahead of schedule by the time they started giving us hints for the first part. We were already on to part 2 and so on and so forth. It was a little more... How do I want to say this? It was a little more story-driven than some of the other Escape Room in a Boxes that you might know about. There were little blurbs about what's going on in the story as you got to each new puzzle. And that was kind of cool, except that, I don't know, the story was a little... I don't want to say bland, it was just odd. Like, they really made some choices about who you and your partner were as characters, and I don't know. It was a weird taste. Let's just say that. Overall, I think, like, the design is kind of cool. I think it's a really pretty box. The components in here, very simple. You've got a couple of pamphlets that fold out into posters that have all your puzzles on them. You've got some tiny little pencils, and you've got some sheets of paper. So obviously, very easy to produce this game. Ooh, the inside of the box is pretty too. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of where it ends. I'm not going to say that there's like awesome artwork within the box. I'm not going to say any of the puzzles were terribly challenging. None of the story was really compelling. And like I said, it took us about 15 minutes. If you're a more casual gamer, if you're not used to sort of solving puzzles and mysteries and stuff like that, it might take you longer. I would not recommend the sort of date night puzzle games to anybody who is used to solving mysteries and puzzles and stuff like that. This is really if you're not a big part of the hobby and you just want to have something fun. I could see how this could definitely keep people invested if they're not big board gamers. For us, it didn't really scratch the itch. So Cruise Ship Escape, again by Happily. Super glad that we were thought of and we got a chance to try it. But in the future, I don't think I'm going to be reaching for them the next time I need a date night idea. I'd give it, I'd call it a 3.5 out of 10. You know, it's barely a board game. But if you go into it like that and say, hey, I want to solve a couple puzzles, you could do worse. But that is the Cruise Ship Escape by Happily.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thanks for that. Tabletop review, Will. We appreciate it. All right. And Claude, I understand that you have to take some medication because I know you're still recovering from the sickies. But we love you and thank you so much for coming on, and we appreciate it. And so, if you need to get going, please. We don't want to stop you from taking your medicine. So please, we understand.
so
We got a little bit more
much.
show to go.
Bye, Claude.
All right. So we'll catch you later. Bye.
Toodles.
All right.
Real quick, before we
All right,
jump on
so-
to the next segment, I just want to say that Brian and Taylor did give us that same box set that you have in your hands.
Okay.
It did take us a little longer, and that's probably because we are a bit more casual at this stuff. So
Yeah, and that's
I
okay.
mean, it's not like it's not like I'm opposed or don't know how to do puzzles, but it's like, you know, when you're and I've gone to escape rooms in general. I think a lot of the things that took us longer. It was just like we were overlooking stuff. And I think for you, you're probably like, no, I know exactly what they're trying to do here. So they probably you probably just cruised right through it. But yeah, either way, they're still fun. I get what you mean though, that it's not for more hardcore folk.
Yeah, well, I mean, you were there. We actually did one of the exit games. Yeah. I think that was last year during. Yeah, that was last year during the 24-hour stream.
Excellent.
And like those are incredible, but that will take you an hour, maybe more, and you get 20, 30 different little facets of puzzles when you're going through that. And so like, I guess I'm comparing it against that backdrop, and it's hard to live up to that. I've also played the Unlock series; those are incredible. So there are good board game in a boxes. This isn't a bad one. It just doesn't measure up to the other ones I've played. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Okay. I feel you.
But I'm still glad we tried it, for sure.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's go over to let's see here. Let's talk some trailers real quick because I don't think we have many here. Joel, what did you see?
So one of the more interesting ones that I did see was called The Old Ways. And basically it's about a journalist of Mexican origin. She travels to her ancestral home in Veracruz to investigate a story of sorcery and healing. And basically she is kidnapped by a group of locals there where they think and claim that she is the devil incarnate. So they do a bunch of weird stuff to her. And so this one looks like it feels more like a Rob Zombie movie, but at the same time, it's not as like grotesque. It's just more, it has that kind of pacing feel. So I would say that this one actually looks kind of interesting, to be honest. And it's by a director I've never heard of, Christopher Allender. So I think this is kind of something new that I'm kind of feeling actually, but it comes out in 2021. So we'll see. It says it was produced in 2020 and people have seen it, but I don't understand. It must just be an indie film thing. So they're probably getting licensing to distribute it. The other one that I did get to see was the new trailer for Jungle Land, which did not already release. It comes out on November 6th. But this is a bare knuckle boxer and his manager brother kind of travel around and the country for their last fight type of situation. And more or less, like along the way, they supposedly bump into somebody who exposes cracks in their relationship. So it kind of gets messy. But one of the guys in there honestly looks like he should play Colin McGregor in a movie if anybody makes a biopic about it or whatever the hell, you know. So take a look at that one if you get a chance. And one last one that I'll make note of before Jelani gets to one that I think is probably the most important out of all these is called Toys of Terror. And this is just pretty much a modern take on what the hell is the name of it? I think of any of those toys coming alive type terror movies, right? But basically this one is like a family goes for a Christmas vacation instead. And what comes about is they're renovating the home and whatnot in the snowy woods types of thing. And basically this abandoned playroom has a bunch of toys and they are all sorts of evil. So I'll leave it at that. I mean, you kind of get the idea, but it looks like a new take on it and it doesn't look like it was too badly produced. So worth checking out.
Okay, cool. Really cool. I guess if we're jumping over to me for the other trailers, there was two I saw. There was one called News of the World. Tom Hanks starring in this one. It looks like it's right up my alley because it's more of a Western feel to it. Tom Hanks plays a character who travels around and reads like the news to people, and this is set in like older times,
No internet.
horse and wagon, no internet, so hand printed like news articles, and he's going around and telling these stories from news clippings and stuff like that. He runs into a young girl who seems to have been separated from her family, and he decides he's going to try and get her back to her family, while there are some people who actually want her as like a for some unknown reason in the trailer, but maybe to sell her or something like that. But yeah, so he's trying to keep her safe in the same way. So looks really good. Tom Hanks, of course, being Tom Hanks, is in another really great looking movie. So that's what you look forward to right there. And then the only other trailer that I saw out there that released was from Disney. It was the I want to say Raya and the Last Dragon teaser trailer came out. And this is Disney animated's next feature. Of course, last one they did Moana, and so they're going on to this one. This one stars an Asian cast dealing with like Asian mythology and things like that. So I hope, as being like in someone of Asian descent here on the podcast, I hope that it really does justice to that. I know they have an Asian cast coming on to that.
I mean,
have,
you don't have to you don't have to like wear it as saying, you are the Asian cast member, so you hope it does well. After Mulan, the live action one, we all hope it does well, because that is not good representation.
It's not, and that's what I'm saying. I really hope this does well, because in the trailer, I will say this right now, it doesn't impress me really.
Okay.
Because I was about to go into that, but I hope that it's just a teaser the way it looks, but nothing grabbed me about it, but it's really just a teaser, so I can't really say much about it.
Well,
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Here's the thing though, is Moana did not grab me from the trailer.
Yeah,
I thought it looked dumb. I thought The Rock was just in there to like try and add star power. I thought it looked campy. And then it came out and the soundtrack and the actual story just blew everyone away. So if it's going to be Disney's play to undersell their CG features and then over deliver, I'm here for it. Cuz I thought Moana ended up being a masterpiece. Yeah,
and so fingers crossed. I mean, it's got a lot for me to hope for here. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. That's all we got here for trailers. So, let's move on to another segment here. Will, do we have any deals?
Indeed, we do. Being the third of the month. Yeah, that makes sense. We're in the 20s of October. Everything with Xbox Live and PS Plus, I've already hit. They're holding pat, so I'm not going to mention those. The big thing that I want to talk about is over at Epic Games, where they are getting into the Halloween spirit. They're giving away 2 games again. Costume Quest 2, which is a very cartoony, kiddie, fun, dress up your characters and have some crazy hijinks sort of a game. Definitely check that out. And then if you're looking for more of the spooky motif, Layers of Fear 2 is available for free as well. That's going to be for your more mature audiences, as it is a little bit scarier. So choose which way you want to go, have some fun, get in the spirit, let's go. Free games are always good. That's all that I want to hit on for consumer advice. Nope, I lied. Okay. One more thing. You all know how much I love Tabletop Simulator. You know how much I love tabletop games. This weekend is Essen Spiel Online, the big European continental board game convention. In conjunction with that, I know a lot of companies are doing free online demos and just play-alongs and stuff like that. So on Steam, Tabletop Simulator is 50% off. So go grab yourself a copy of that. So much you can do on Tabletop Simulator. They're always adding stuff. And I'm actually excited to announce that I partnered up with a board game company to make a Tabletop Simulator module that'll be debuting at Essen Spiel. It's not much. I basically took their digital assets and set them up in the Tabletop Simulator, but it was still pretty cool. So if you get a chance, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not, so don't get mad at me, but look for Devir Games Out of This World on Tabletop Simulator. You check out the credits and you'll see this guy's name. I think it's pretty cool. It's a little board game, kind of a Stranger Things meets, just kind of like some crazy monster hijinks. So it's kind of neat. Little card game. So check that out. Check out Essen Spiel online. Check out Tabletop Simulator. It's cheap. Play some tabletop games, y'all. Very fun. That's it for Consumer Corner.
Nice.
Okay. Let me see here. Let's see what else we got here. Real quick, I don't have much here release for what's releasing here, but if you want something to play, you can hop on to Ghost of Tsushima Legends with a bunch of people who are playing it. I hope to jump on as much as possible. Also releasing out there, I think today we had the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield: The Crown Tundra. It's the expansion for the game, which I think a lot of people are looking forward to, adding new areas, new Pokemon, new everything. So check it out. And there's not really much else for big releases in ways of gaming, but that was about it there. And then for like things to watch, if you're looking for something to watch, something funny to watch, the Borat subsequent movie is releasing tomorrow on Prime. So there you go, check that out. And on Netflix, you can check out a limited series called The Queen's Gambit, which looks really cool. It's a kind of deals around with like a young girl in 1950s in an orphanage, and she has a talent for chess, but she's also dealing with like addiction, things like that. So it's really cool looking. I mean, I'm a big fan of like chess films, and Anya Taylor-Joy, who's the star of the limited series, is a really great actress. So check it out. And that's all I got for coming soon. Let's move over to Joel and Tell.
Joel and Tell.
All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Okay, so for my first one, I think one of the things that I've been leaving out of this Joel and Tell thing is the fact that I have a fantastic music collection, and by that I mean typically vinyls or CDs, because I'm an old man, and so I was into CDs and vinyls for a long time. But what I want to show here is I always kept an eye out for different things when I worked at exclusive company years ago, that were basically going to be like, you know, related to movies or stuff like that, because I always got soundtracks and things like that. So this one here, the first one that I'm going to show is they did a limited release of the soundtracks of John Carpenter, his different movies, and this is The Thing, the soundtrack by The Thing. And as you can see here, they came with a very limited number signed by Alan Howarth, which is the gentleman that helped produce this soundtrack. But he did not only do that, he did Big Trouble in Little China,
nice.
which is also signed, and They Live, which is also signed. But I got a couple of these different soundtracks, and it's just really cool that you know, like, I thought The Thing was very relatable for the holidays that we have going on right now, of course. And I would say They Live is as well, because these two movies, including the what is it called, the Dark Prince, I think I forgot what the name of the movie is, but regardless, there's an apocalypse trilogy that basically he put together. But this Alan Howarth guy helped either produce or work in collaboration with John Carpenter, and in this case, Ennio Morricone, who, if you look that gentleman up, you're going to be shocked and surprised by how many soundtracks, and I mean big soundtracks, that gentleman has done. So the fact that he helped with this one is just like, what were you doing on this film? I guess maybe he had higher expectations of success for it, but in the long term, hey, you get to go down in history as one of the better sci-fi movies of all time. So yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool that I've got these little signed copies here, and for Joel and Tell, like I said, maybe I'll start bringing up more music stuff, because I've got plenty of that as well. Now, for my second one, I did have a variety of other things that I wanted to show, but I think I brought this up on the show once before, but I think it's more relatable now than ever because of the season. And I wanted Claude to hear this one because it relates to the movie that she was talking about, but in somewhat of a different way. This is called Blood on the Tracks, which is a manga, and I mentioned this one on the show. You guys may recall previously, but I just wanted to re-describe that this is still one of the eeriest mangas that I've ever read, and it's kind of like Junji Ito's type of foreboding, kind of like building up, and you get to these like really, and I'm sorry if I'm going to ruin it, but it's the first book, so it's not really ruining it, because that is what goes forward with the rest of the story. And forgive me for having a tweezer as a bookmark, but you can see here, it's like, okay, the mom pushes this kid off a cliff. And then I just want to show you that you get tons of weird scenery like this, where it's just like, the mom is like there, but the distant look of like, oh, I'm still your mother, but guess what? I'm also a murderer, you know? So it's like that total creepy feeling of, that this kid has about his mom, where he's like, I always loved her. She was always so caring, but there was always something that felt off. To everyone else, she's fine, but to this kid, she was always like very disturbing. And you can see here that it's like, it's kind of like a family story, but it turns out that the mom in the first episode, so I'm not really ruining it here, it's setting the pace. And I don't know what really happens because it's still coming out. But yeah, if you want an interesting read, that is quite gripping, because it is atmospheric and everything like that. As you can tell, I love that atmospheric stuff. But this one, particularly for a manga, is a very fun read, and the animation's quite pretty throughout, but it also leaves you with an eerie thought of like, you can't even trust your own mom? What the hell is this?
She just reaches behind her head and rips off the mask, and it's Heihachi underneath.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll just say, yeah, it's a good read for the season, because while it's not supernatural thus far, at least to my knowledge, it certainly leaves you with a feeling of what Claude was talking about, where it's like, how does a family member deal with the fact that you are with somebody who killed somebody, say, and it's like, so that's a very interesting concept because it can turn out horribly, as she described, and I'm sure it will pan out the same way for this book. But yeah, definitely one worth reading and checking out. So that's what I've got here. It's called Blood on the Tracks by Shozu Oshimi. So check that out.
Very cool. Yeah, that's one on my radar because I remember you talking about it before, and I was like, I kind of want to.
Oh yeah, want to know. That to you would be like,
all right, ladies and gentlemen. You know what time it is?
Oh yeah,
we've reached the end of our show, and I think it's time for some. Will hit that theme.
Rapid five.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for Rapid Five. It's our last segment on the show here on Thursday nights. It's a segment where or the host, or me tonight, will have random questions for the host to get to know them a little bit better. They're random from all aspects of whatever. So, and it ends off with our fun little together questions. So I'll describe it as we keep going. So let's start with Will.
Bring it.
Will,
I'm feeling confident.
Rapid fire question today is. First one is, what is to you? What is the most relatable video game character?
Ooh, the most relatable video game character. Ooh, I'm going to say, and I don't actually know the character's name, though I know they have a name, but I don't think it's revealed in the game. I'm gonna say the main character from Undertale. Because you get to choose how you're gonna fight all these monsters or not, and
nice.
Lead with love. That's all I'm saying. Lead with love.
I like it a lot. All right, Joel, coming back over to you. What is your favorite? In movies, there are some great speeches.
Oh yeah,
right. What is your favorite movie speech?
Ooh, I think to try to be quick about this, I'll just say, I mean, come on, it is hard. All right. One to be funny, one to be realistic, and think this is still pretty epic. Braveheart is the more epic and realistic kind of like, all right, that everybody can kind of get behind that freedom speech there. But the Independence Day speech.
Yes, absolutely.
How can we leave that one out?
Now, which one was the funny? Which one was the serious?
Yeah, exactly.
Which one?
Was it? Come on, you know that the funny. I know it's funny because honestly, the Independence Day one is quite serious, but looking back at it, it's like that's still kind of a goofy one to pull out of, right? And be like, yeah, that's an awesome speech.
Will.
Yes.
You are our resident improv master. You were part of some great improv groups and things like that. For you, being in the world of improv, like, what do you think? Do you have like a pet peeve, like improv trope?
Do I have a pet peeve improv trope? Yeah, actually. So with improv, you like to play sort of what you know. You like to play accessible characters, and a lot of times you'll get a husband and wife pair. And what really sucks, because it's really, really lazy, overdone comedy right now, and really basically for years and years and years, is dumb, inattentive husband and naggy wife. I hate seeing those tropes come up because it does nobody any credit and it's so played out. And so I like to see characters who actually love each other. I like to see characters who it's them against the world, you know?
Yeah.
And they complement each other.
I could feel that.
Because I think that's so much more realistic, and there's so much more to explore with that.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people have used the Lois and Peter voice to just make a point of that.
100%. Lois and Peter, or Homer and Marge, or Al and shoot,
I forgot her name. Yeah,
you know who I'm talking about from. Yeah. So it's so easy. Don't do it. If you're an improv, Don't do it. It's a crutch.
All right, nice, good answer. All right, going over to Joel. Joel, I consider you a person with some good selections of hats and jackets and liking of clothes. I literally
First thing that came to mind.
I'm gonna say that I'm very sad that Claude's not here because
Oh, yeah.
I think she would have had a laugh at me with this question. But of characters out there, who do you think is the best dressed character? Who has like the greatest outfits?
In movies, though, you mean, right?
And anything.
The
Open. It's open wide for you.
All right, I'll just say that the entire cast and crew of Inception was pretty well done, mostly because
Cool.
Tom Ford dressed those people. So, yeah,
cool.
I think that's a cool look where it's like modern classic. So,
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, our resident sandwich hero is here. Our sandwich aficionado is here. Will Walkie Washkun is here to solve and tackle another sandwich question for you guys. Wisconsin is very famous for certain things here in Wisconsin.
Yes.
And I think our state fair has something that's very iconic for it, and that is the cream puff. Is
Ooh.
the cream puff a sandwich?
Wow. Okay, so this is incredible. That is a good question.
Boom, baby!
My criteria are,
It's getting hot in here with these questions. It's getting hot in here with these questions. You know what I'm talking about? All right,
as always, my criteria are, is it layered? Is it portable? Is it something you would eat with your hands? And I think, although it is a sandwich of incredible difficulty to consume, it is a sandwich.
Ladies and gentlemen, put it up on the board. Cream puff is a sandwich.
Ooh!
let me ask you really quick though, because you have brought up in the past that protein has to be at the center of it. Does that that's not one of your necessary criteria?
Mm-hmm. So that's the thing. Yeah, that's very important because hey, vegetarians are people too. But keep in mind, I'm pretty sure a cream puff has a healthy amount of protein with all of the dairy in that. I mean, there's got to be some protein in that. It's just a heavy dish.
It really is
somewhere. Yeah. But yeah, I feel you. All right, cool. All right, cream puffs a sandwich.
Done.
All right, cool. I like it a lot. All right, we're going back over to Joel. Joel has a Gundam, a real life Gundam in his midst.
Yes, I'm piloting it.
He has refused to let go of this, and every week me and Will have tried to tempt him away from the Gundam.
I will say you've gotten a couple weeks in a row now since I've been doing the bracket. So if you wrestle the Gundam away from him during this period while I am napping, I will
Can I
be
break it?
very impressed and a little salty.
So here's the game show. Joel, you can either keep your Gundam, your real life Gundam that you have, or open that door, and what's that? It's a syringe. What's this? What is in the syringe, though? Oh my god, it's a serum. And what's the serum? It is a serum to give you super immune system, which means you can never get sick or you can never have allergies. It is pure, like, I have a super immune system. I am completely 100% all the time, never sick.
Interesting. Huh.
Super immune.
Yeah, I didn't see this coming.
That is way out of left field.
But that's not a bad one. And honestly, it's like, you know what he did here? He took away from the other things that I love.
Yeah.
But one thing that we all love is our damn health.
If you don't have your health, what do you have?
That's what I'm thinking too.
You are completely healthy for the rest of your life.
In space, nobody hears you cough. So, all right. I gotta think this through logically here. Gundam, you're in a isolated capsule and apparently has a lot of oxygen, and you could always go somewhere and probably refill the oxygen in a safe place. But with an immune system that keeps you invulnerable, I would say, then you, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. That's a pretty good one.
To sicknesses.
Yeah.
To all sicknesses.
You're not immune to like
have to-
punches, though.
No,
You still get punched.
I
You're
get
not-
it. While everybody,
Again, you're not Superman.
no, I get
but you
that.
have
I get
the
that.
immune system, and you're immune to anything, any disease. You're healthy. You are a healthy person.
You know, that may just mean that I could outlive the injection of an alien embryo or the thing, because the cells would attack, and it'd be like, nope, sorry, you're immune. I like it.
It's space disease.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
space
up to you.
disease.
What are you gonna do?
It's space disease.
What are you gonna do?
All right.
I
Final answer.
am seeing ya.
Final answer.
Tempt. Come to the dark side.
Gundam. Sorry, no. I'll be sick all day freaking long, but I will pilot my sick ass Gundam. I'll be coughing my lungs out.
Ladies and gentlemen, I thought I had him there.
Dude, that
I
was-
was like,
Hey.
I thought I had him.
You had a really good one here, because like I said, and Will, think about that going forward. Something out of left field like that, not a bad idea, because you're competing against fandoms otherwise.
That's right. That's right.
Ooh. Oh man, I thought I had him with that one.
My
All right,
streak continues.
All right.
All right.
right.
All right.
We're done, though,
Joel's holding on. Joel, you're holding on to it. Okay. The fourth question, for our cast hosts here, is it's for both of you actually.
Oh.
So this question is, what is your favorite thing about a convention?
Ooh.
Will, you want to go first?
My favorite thing about conventions. I think my favorite thing about conventions is that people kind of know that on some level they're within their tribe. Like everyone kind of knows that they're there to be enthusiastic about the same thing. And that's so incredibly powerful, because everybody gets this like mob mentality, but not like angsty or violent or angry or anything. It's almost a competition to see who can be the most psyched. Like who can get the most excited about this thing. And it's so much fun. Like I've people who wouldn't dance normally start dancing. People who wouldn't sing start singing. You play games with total strangers. It's just incredible. It's the energy and the fact that you're among your tribe.
All right.
Very cool. Joel.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go in a different way, just because he described probably one of the best aspects of it, which is obviously we're all here for the same reason, and we can just scream and shout at the top of our lungs from the top of a mountain that this is the coolest thing, and that's why we're all happy that something like this exists. I will say that it's really cool to go down like the artist alleys or the sales type of areas, for multiple reasons, not just because of consumerism, but more because typically you'll find things that are of your realm, but they're rare or you haven't seen before. Or in the case of artists, you might find like, individuals that you're like, dude, I want to support this person because they are doing something really, really cool. So I thought that was always a unique thing for I haven't gone to as many as you guys. So I have to say, I don't have as many under my belt, but I certainly have gone to quite a few anime ones, and over the many years of going to different things, like, even back to like baseball card conventions and stuff like that. Well, that's all buying and crap like that. So, but it's still for the same purposes. So those two things together, like Will's comment, and maybe the shop, it's pretty damn cool, man. I think that's a really cool thing to bring everybody together.
Really cool. Really cool.
We will get you to Gen Con one of these years.
I know.
Yeah,
I want to.
you 100% need to come to Gen Con
Yeah.
with us. So that's something we need to do.
God, I
baby.
miss conventions.
God, missed every
damn.
convention this year. It's so bad.
I want that feeling so bad.
All right, so I'm going to. Oh man. All right, so I need to pause for a second. I really, really need to run to the bathroom real quick.
Uh-oh.
Can you guys fill time for
got you.
1 minute?
We got you.
1 minute.
Yeah.
One minute.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
like,
go ahead.
I mean, just like getting back to that, conventions, of course, are like the worst thing you can do right now. Because it's literally just a giant group of people getting together in a tiny little
anyway.
space. Yeah. 99% of the time you get sick at a convention no matter what. And
Not that many people together, right?
yeah, but dude, I mean, before they canceled Gen Con this year, like, I knew logically I wasn't gonna go, because that'd be ridiculous. But it was gonna be a hard call if they had it, if they still held it, and I couldn't go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a weekend where your only obligations are to go and be excited about stuff.
Well, and I'm trying to think of, like, isn't it like February that pretty much con season starts?
I mean, con season is year round.
It's year round, but I'm
locally
trying to think, like,
around here, most of the best ones are like early year. Like February. There's Amkey and there's Midwinter Gaming Convention.
Yep.
C2E2 is like May.
A little bit further out. I was gonna say, I think that's summertime. But either way, it's just really cool that, like, you know, for us to have all those fun events like that, they start early, but then the bigger ones kind of happen later on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's sad because this year, like you just said, even back to February, March, April, you know, they were all toast by that point this year. So by the time you guys got to Gen Con, it was like, yeah, no shit, they're gonna do that. And I recommend that we don't do it.
Yeah. I mean, we got, unfortunately. What was the last one that we got to go to this year? Was it Midwinter? Or was it...
I feel like it was anime. It was anime.
Was it Amkey? Okay. So much fun. That is a really good show.
I miss it. Yes. All right. So, the reason why... So, you guys might be wondering, why is this question for both of us? Right? Ooh. So, the final keep, stop, or snap out of existence question what is going to be revolving around conventions.
Oh boy.
All right. So, for folks who don't know what our final question of the show is the keep, stop, or snap questions. You've got to choose out of the three things I present with them, which to keep going, which to stop where it's at, and what to snap out of existence never existed. All right. All right. Are you ready?
Yep.
We'll
final
see.
question is, what do you keep, stop, or snap out of existence involving conventions? Do you keep the show floor? Do you keep gaming aspects? Do you keep the entertainment aspects? And I'm talking about panels and shows and things like that.
So repeat the first two, though. I want to write it down just so I have it.
So we're talking about the show floors. We're talking about, and show floor, I mean the vendors, the artist alley, the thing like that. Do you keep the entertainment aspect? That's going to the shows, the panels, the things that people create to like put on and entertain the people. Mm-hmm. Or do you keep the gaming aspect of it, which every convention has the games that you play with people, the tabletop games, the arcades, the gaming competition tournaments, things like that.
Sure.
What do you keep? What do you stop? And what do you snap out of existence? Never existed in a convention's history.
Man, you screwed us over here, dude. We don't want any of those gone.
This is tough.
Well,
all right,
it figured out, or you want me to go?
I'm gonna go, and I'm probably gonna want to take this back immediately after I say it. I think you have to keep the entertainment, because one thing you can't have a convention without is a draw. You know, you gotta have those celebrity guests, you gotta have those panels, you gotta have those big announcements, you gotta have those concerts. Otherwise, people aren't gonna come. It's just a bunch of people gathering and shopping, you know?
Yeah.
I think you need to stop the show floor, like the vendor hall. So, like, what I'm thinking is you just don't let it get any bigger. You still have vendor halls, but they're just always going to be what they are now. They never get any bigger. Because that's a big source of revenue, and it's really hard for a convention to keep going if it doesn't make no money. So, despite the fact that I love gaming, it's my favorite hobby, 100%. I'm gonna snap gaming out of the convention scene because I think I am still satisfied enough with gaming at my friendly local game store and online and just with my gaming groups. Gaming will survive. And there are conventions where the gaming is such an afterthought and they're still great shows. So I hate to say it, but gaming's got to go. And that probably means my favorite convention doesn't get to happen. So.
Oof. Yeah. All right. You've got me thinking now too. And the reason I would have kept gaming would have been because I'm thinking of places like Midwest Gaming Classic, where it's like the whole point of it is, and just like Gen Con is as well. But Midwest Gaming Classic, they have less emphasis on the entertainment aspect. I would say, to my knowledge, but I could be wrong with regard to panels, are a little less predominant as opposed to just having places for people to play games. But there's all sorts of different conventions. And to be honest, I think the modern convention that we're all familiar with at this point, the big monster ones that everybody is attracted to, are the ones where you get announcements. So I am going to agree that you keep the entertainment aspect. And in fact, I do think that they could expand upon that even more so and make it more accessible for more people. And I will say some of the, one of the best concerts that Amy and I went down to Chicago just for one night for at one of the anime conventions in Chicago was it was a concert there. So that's entertainment as well. They have all sorts of crazy, as they get larger and larger, they pull in more or bigger names and stuff like that. So that's really cool. I would keep that. Stop the show floor, which I agree. Yeah, I don't want it to be over consumed by consumerism, but I will say that I follow a number of people on social media that literally their entire career is based around the circuit of going to different conventions. So
cool.
As much as it's like, yeah, sell out, baby, but it's like good for them. They found a way to get their art out to people, things like that. So I'm all about that. And then the gaming aspect, yeah, you're probably right. We probably could just do it at home. Damn it.
But I mean, community. Con gaming is incredible. So this really was a difficult one. Like, I'm ripping out my heart here.
Well, the one that I thought of more closer to myself is like Midwest Gaming Classic. There's a lot of stuff that I couldn't try otherwise. Yeah. And not just like, hardware stuff. It's like there's always something peculiar there. And that type of stuff, even in probably the tabletop arena, there's always stuff you never expected to try too. So of course we're not just downplaying and saying that's useless. It's just that out of all three of these,
we could find a way around it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And keep in mind, this is coming from someone who was a 4-time champion at the last Midwinter Gaming Convention.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
I have the trophies to prove it. And I could I would give away my glory if it meant keeping the cons.
Yeah.
What about you, Jelani? Turn the death ray back on yourself.
Yep.
Death ray back on myself for this question. I came up with this question because I thought, everyone here loves conventions when we get to go. And if I had to keep something, I would keep the entertainment aspect of it. I think that the shows and the guests and the panels and things you get to do there are great. hell, we even do a panel here and there when we can,
Mhm.
and it's always great. And I think you can really, get to go there and have this draw of like seeing good panels or things like that on like things that you want to see. And so I think that's a really great thing. Um, I think I could stop the show floor where it's at. I think that like we're good where it's at. I think like we're getting to a point where like the larger conventions, I think we're at max capacity for how much I could handle. If they got bigger than that, like I don't know if I could ever see everything
Oh,
in a
I
whole
know.
weekend. Like I've walked like Gen Con and like New York Comic Con floors, and I'm like, geez, this is huge.
Even
And I
C2E2.
feel like I miss things all the time, and C2E2, yeah, as well. And so I think we're at max capacity of how big we can get with like the show floor. Um, Gaming, as much as I hate to let it go, I think that I could still make do at like with getting together with friends, getting going to your local place and having some fun there. Um, I I don't know if I ever normally when I go to conventions, like I'm not partaking, for me especially, like partaking in the official events. I know a lot of people do, but like a lot of time it's just like, hey, let's stop and game together with like friends and stuff like that, and we'll just grab a random game or something like that, or we'll do something cool. But other than that, yeah,
I
I
think
think
this includes that though. This includes like our
no, yeah, yeah, no,
midnight sitting in the food court playing our new games. Like
no,
it's
yeah,
all
and
gone.
that's yeah, and that's what I'm saying is like for me, I don't take part in the official stuff, so I don't know if I'd ever like have a special place in the official run stuff at a con. So I think I could probably make do with just like having a get together with friends on another weekend or something like that, and really focusing on like the panels and seeing everything I want to see, and going and checking out some of the cool show floor stuff and things like that. So I think that's probably what I would snap, is
All
the
right.
gaming stuff, and then yeah, so
Right
there we go.
on.
And
Very nice.
Good question.
yes,
Yeah, dude.
yeah,
Tough one.
as a thinker, well, folks at home, thank you so much for joining us here for another great Pop Samurai Thursday. Continuing our POPtober event here. Next week is the last POPtober
Ooh.
show. So if you're
Yes.
looking for some more spoopiness, make sure you tune in for that, for the finale of the baddies brackets. We're gonna do the grand finale and see who gets crowned top baddie in that bracket. And
Hey,
yeah, we
what's the
appreciate
week
you guys.
after that?
And the week after that, I'm going to kill myself by by going and streaming 24 hours straight for Extra Life, the charity organization that we join every year, to help raise money for sick kids. We are in support of the Children's Hospital of Wisconsin. They really need it. So if you guys get a chance, you guys can also help donate right now by clicking the link that's down below in the panels below the video here, or join us on the stream November 7th for our 24-hour stream, and we're gonna have some fun that day. I'm planning on playing some stuff. I know Will's gonna jump on as well, and we're gonna do some stuff together. Joel is gonna
We'll definitely
hopefully
help
jump
out.
on
Yeah.
as well. So like we're all gonna come together and just play games and hopefully raise money for the sick kids out there. So we're having fun, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Last year I died a lot because we played Castle Crashers and I just kept dying. So that's all it is.
So good.
So yeah, if you guys are out there watching us right now, you guys can give us a follow. That'd be great right now. And if you guys get a chance to subscribe, if you have Amazon Prime, it's free. You just have to go to your Amazon Prime page and subscribe to us here, Pop Samurai Network, on twitch.tv/Pop Samurai Network, and give your free subscription to us, and that kicks us some money and helps us stay afloat here and keeps the light on here on Pop Samurai Network. So to my hosts, Will Walking Washkun, Joel, Critical Joel Pat Brocky, and me, Jaboy Jelani Hoon. We appreciate all you for joining us. We love everybody out there who joined us in chat, and make sure you guys are doing good, being safe, and we love all you guys, and we'll catch you guys next week. Bye bye.
Will Our Heroes podcast survive? Spread the word, subscribe, and tune in next time. Same Pop Samurai time, same Pop Samurai channel.